YouTube, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to do something a little bit more difficult. This tutorial video is going to educate you guys and me at the same time on how to change a starter on this Audi A5. It's a cabriolet. It's my girl's car. It's an A5 2014 cabriolet. The starter just decided that it has reached its point in its life where she now needs to be changed. So I went ahead and ordered a starter for the car a couple of days ago. So while that's being shipped out, I'm gonna go ahead, pull the car apart, get it ready to receive that starter. So when it comes in, I can just pop it in and close it up. You know, I'm trying to be proactive. Or being proactive, actually, yeah. So I already loosened up all the bolts and screws that need to be loosened up in terms of removing the engine cover and the airbox, but I snapped them back in place so I could illustrate to you guys how exactly you go about doing this. All right, so let's hop into the build, or let's hop into the repair. Not a build, a repair. I mean, who knows? It could become a build. And that's easy stuff. You can change this air intake to a carbon fiber cold air intake. We can play with the charge pipes, get those either silicone or aluminum, stainless steel, something that aids in better airflow. The downpipe can be changed. We can play with the size of the turbo right there. Injector size, fuel pump. We can do some stuff to this car. But for today's video, we're just gonna be starting on the starter, which is tucked in all the way down there. All right, yeah. All right, so to get started, what we're gonna do first is remove the engine cover. This is not bolted down, it snaps on, and that is gonna come off. See those little thingies right there and there and there? They snap onto here and here and here and here. But anywho, that's out of the way. All right. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna unplug our mass airflow sensor. This tab here, you're gonna pull back on it and then push down and it will come off. Moving over to the airbox, which houses your filter. It's fucking long here, guys. I swear, every time I want to do something, like shoot a video or wash my car or probably work on my car in the driveway, these guys show up and say they want to cut the lawn. It's ridiculous. Anywho, moving on. We got some T30 screws holding the airbox in, and you're gonna have one here, one, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Now, before you get to those screws, go ahead, apply a flathead screwdriver to this hose right here, pull that off the airbox. Then you go ahead with a T30 screwdriver and remove those. All right. Now, we're here. This bad boy is snapped in, kind of like the engine cover on these things here. It's snapped in underneath and right here on this bracket as well. And this is something you can just pull up. The air channel comes in here. It's not snapped in or anything. It just comes right out, line right here. See, that just comes right out like that. And now we have all this space. There you can see the turbo can we have a good look at it? There it is. The starter is tucked in right under there. This line is actually the starter wire leading down to the starter right there. So as you can tell already, this is no easy task. If you have the starter tucked in all the way under this turbo, then how are we gonna get there? All right. Been doing some research on how to attack this, which involves removing the passenger side wheel, removing the this fender line in here, removing the heat shield under the turbo, and attacking it from that section. What I may do, I may go a different route. I may just take the exhaust manifold and turbo off, get it out the way, and just go directly into it. But lots of ifs, buts, and maybes. Let's get started, yeah? Moving inside the fender line, we got the wheel off, and now we're gonna put these looks like some T25s, along here as well. Am I seeing any more? No. Audi got some interesting clips though, I must say, along the fender line. Got a few 10mm as well, here and here. And yeah, there is no mention of disassembling any part of your suspension to get to the starter, so we're not gonna touch any of this. Our concentration is on the fender line, so we can gain some access up under there. Okay, let go. Alright, so all the clips, all the screws, all the bolts are out. Let's see if this fender lining is ready to come out. Moving forward from removing the fender liner, we now have to go ahead and remove the undershroud so we can get access to the engine mount. And after we get that out of the way, we should be able to see the starter a bit better. So some T20 screws along here, and I got some Allen key sockets up there, 2 of those, and about 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and they should just come down. All right. With the undershroud out of the way, we now have access to these bolts right here. They look like some triple square bolts. After removing this bracket, we can get the engine mount out the way, and that will then allow us to move this bracket out of the way. Not sure if you can see, but on the other side of this bracket is the starter. It's tucked up right there. There it is. Right there. So we need to remove this engine mount, then we can move this bracket, and then we can get to the starter. All right, so a few days have passed. The starter came in the mail. You can see it there. And now we're gonna continue and get this done. So we have these 12-point star bolts right here to be pulled on this bracket that's holding in the engine mount on the passenger side. You also have two 16mm bolts on this side, one here and one here. There's also a number 16 12-point star inside there that we'll have to move as well, and then that will take us over to this 14-point 12-point, my bad. Well, then we're gonna come over to here after we've moved the engine mount. We're gonna pull this bad boy up here. There is a number 4 around here. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. But that's how we're gonna get to the starter. It's tucked in back there, so let's go. Now, after doing some research, watching other YouTube videos, it's important that you support the engine before you take the engine mount out, because of course you're gonna take the mount out, it's gonna fall and all of that. It makes sense, right? Support the engine, take the engine mount out. All right, let's go. So there's a particular bolt that gives everyone trouble, and there's arguments in the forums whether it is that the best way to do this is to remove the catalytic converter, and then you can gain access to that bolt back there. Or I've seen a few persons, they have the 12-point star attached to a swivel head, and we send that through the Fender line. As you can see, a couple of extensions connected there up to the swivel head, and the O2 sensor, removing this O2 sensor does give you a lot more working room, so I did that. And as you can see, that's on there. Already broke it loose, so I'm gonna take this off, and then we should have complete access to the starter. There's the engine mount and the engine mount guard that I mentioned earlier. Guys, this 12-point star set is gonna be your lifesaver. Make sure you have this if you're gonna be working on an Audi, as well as a standard hex set. All right, guys, the bracket is out the way, the 4 bolts of that bracket is out the way, and now you can see we have full access to the starter. Right, the first bolt, oh, let me turn the flash on. All right, so the first bolt in question is right there. It's right here. From this point of view, it looks like a 16. I'll confirm that in a minute. And then we gotta come over here and let me see if I can get the camera in here for you guys. The other bolt that holds it in is right there. So you're gonna need a 12-point socket for that. Regular hex socket, 6-point socket for the other one, and your starter is out. Now, the connection for the starter is on top of it, so I would suggest just pulling these 2 bolts and then moving on to removing that clip and taking the harness off the starter. It has some room on the harness, so don't worry about snagging the cable. All right, so 2 more bolts to go. Let's get it. I want to say as well that I remove the charge pipes, both top and bottom, so I could have a little bit more working room, you know. But yeah, 2 bolts to go. Let's get it. All right, so after some wiggling and diggling and all kinds of stuff with the harness and whatnot, here we are. The old starter. All right. No. So that's it. That looks the same. Yeah, that looks the same. Ready. So the bolt that was up there, yes, it's a 16. Is there anything else I need to confirm? No, everything is straightforward. The harness that connects to this bad boy has a red tab on the top that you have to slide back, and then you can push the harness off. Apart from that, you have a 12mm holding in your ground wire there, and that's how we get to the starter on this 2014 Audi A5 Cabriolet. Reverse the process and get the new one in. Reconnect the battery, crank the car up. All right, so let's start that part of the process, and I'll get back to you when the car is done and started. There you have it. The starter is in place, harness reconnected, and yeah, next step is this bracket to go on the side, then the engine mount cover, and yeah, we're done. Is it in? Yeah, getting closer to done. But yeah, stay tuned.